Hello, everybody. My name's Rebecca, and welcome back to My Bookish Travels. Today, I am so excited to bring my monthly wrap up for May because I actually didn't do a lot of reading. I spent the majority of the month watching a lot of currently airing Asian dramas, as well as rewatching ones that I have watched previously. And I also spent probably far too much time listening to BTS's latest release, Butter. I was not expecting a full English single to be dropped, so that was amazing. I'm not sure what you guys did aside from reading in May, but I would love to hear in the comments down below, what is your go-to aside from reading that you find that you spend a lot of time doing? What is included in your me time that isn't book related? Well, let's jump into my wrap up. The first book that I finished was actually an Audible original, and it was paired with TED Talks. It's called Sincerely X, and the main narrator was Gene Cohen. Every single episode had a different person that was actually speaking. Sincerely X is done in the same format of being an information sharing space, but it's done in an anonymous format. And I think that actually worked extremely well because it gave you very raw, very realistic things that were being discussed that are taking place in the world today or taking place personally with us. And it was being shared in this format solely because of the fact that the person had the space to share it in an anonymous format. I think sometimes when you as a person or as a business are being associated with something, you're maybe a little more practiced with what you're sharing rather than letting it be that raw realism that's coming forth. So for myself, I definitely gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. I would highly recommend go and listen to these. Just be aware that there should be trigger warnings on some that don't include trigger warnings, but I really recommend if you enjoy TED Talks, you are definitely going to enjoy listening to Sincerely X. The next book that I finished was Attachments by Rainbow Rowell. This was so beautiful. Guys, getting to be pulled back into the late 90s and right into Y2K was such a throwback for me. So it kind of felt like I was getting to time travel a little bit, and I loved it so much. I really enjoyed getting to see everything that was taking place in the story and being like, I remember this. It definitely gave a Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan vibe, such as You've Got Mail and Sleepless in Seattle. I love that they're actually referenced in this book. So amazing. But in general, guys, this book is so well done. There's so much thought that's put into it, and it definitely gives you that feel as somebody who's in her late 20s, and somebody who's maybe going into their early 30s, I feel like you're going to connect so well with what's going on with this story because it's exactly where I think anybody who was born in the 90s is going to be feeling right now. And I so loved getting to escape out of what was going on in the world with COVID and get enveloped in this 1999 story of a boy meets girl in a unique way and romance ensues. In case you guys do not know what this is about, it mainly takes place in emails, so ergo You've Got Mail, but he's actually having to monitor the emails for the company, and he ends up kind of falling in love with one of the people he's reading the emails for. It's so beautiful, and I would say if you guys have your doubts about will I like it, go and read this and then come back and tell me, did you like it or did you hate it? The third book that I finished was You Got Me Senpai, Volume 1, and this one is by Azusa Maze. I could be saying that name wrong, so my apologies to the manga artist. This one was very well done. I ended up giving this one 5 out of 5 as well, and I was completely shook. I was not expecting to love this story as much as I did. It was very slow moving, so I was kind of like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this or not. I really liked it because it wasn't rushed. It definitely felt like this first love story that the author is creating. And I can kind of feel like this story is like something that actually took place and the author is like sharing a part of her past with us. You never know with manga. Sometimes art can reflect life quite a bit more than we always expect it to, but still the same. So for that reason, I really liked it. And I love the fact that at the start of the story, the male lead actually says, what does it really matter in 50 years from now how our first 10 minutes of our introduction actually went? And I think that's so beautiful and so lovely, and I cannot wait to read more in this series and see how the characters continue to develop together and separately. And the last book that I read was The Wealthy Barber Returns by David Chilton, and this is actually the sequel to The Wealthy Barber, which I haven't read. The chapters are very short and they're all touching on different subject matter. It's all dealing with regards to finances, and he actually is a Canadian author, so it was nice to kind of read finances based from a Canadian standpoint rather than from in the States or elsewhere. I enjoyed the fact that he does kind of dummy things down in a way that if you're not familiar with finances or you're not familiar with the direction you should be going with your finances, he really does take that moment to share it with you. But I also find that he's not very aggressive in how he does it. He's very gentle and, well, this is what I would say, but you know, it's what I'm saying, but you don't have to actually use that if you don't want to. He does put a lot of humor into his writing as well, which is really good. But I have noticed in the last, I'd say probably 6 months, 7 months, I've actually really enjoyed getting into financial books as well as discussions, and it's something that I didn't think I would be very, very interested in. You know, 10 years ago, I was like, yeah, no, whatever, math, who cares? Whereas now I'm like, yes, I want to discuss this. It is a topic that I find enjoyable. He discusses different things from investing to your retirement, RSPs, tax-frees, mortgages, borrowing funds, lines of credit. He just takes a lot of vastly different subject matters that actually all revolve around your finances, and he says, let's talk about this. I really enjoyed that aspect of the book. I definitely did highlight and write a few things in the book as I went. My friend's dad actually recommended, when you're reading financial books, use it as a textbook, mark it up. So that's what I did. And I actually do have the first one, The Wealthy Barber. So I'm going to, at some point in the future, read that one and kind of see how different that one is, because he does touch on a few points in this book that he had written about in the first book. So it'll be interesting going back to the first one, where I kind of get the feeling that he spends a little bit more time focusing on, you know, one subject over the other rather than just like short couple pages, chapter here and there. That is my wrap up for the month. I only read 4 books. They all were really well done. The Wealthy Barber Returns, I gave 4 out of 5 stars. Everything else was 5. And as I said, I just spent a lot of time watching Asian dramas. Ones that I'm watching right now that I started in May that I'm really loving. So I Married My Auntie fan. I am watching Imitation. Please Feel at Ease, Mr. Ling. And the other one that I'm watching, oh, my mind is blanking. Oh, don't you just hate when that happens? The other one that I am watching right now is Love is Science. Love is Science. That's the other one I'm watching. And I just recently, at the end of last month, started watching Love is Phantom, because we all know that here on this channel, we talk about things that make me happy, but things that I spend my time fangirling over, and what better than that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So feel free to chat down below. I would love to share some more words with you guys. For some reason I thought my pillow just blinked. I don't know where my thought process is today. Maybe it's because I tried to put makeup on and that was a huge fail. And I've started rambling now. I hope you guys have a good rest of the day, and I will see you next time. Until then, stay safe and stay well. Bye.